Hey guys, this week we're doing experiment 14. We're looking at the intermolecular forces in some organic compounds, particularly a few alcohols that have OHs on them, so they have hydrogen bonding, and then two alkanes, which are your pentane and hexane, which only have dispersion forces. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some of each of these organic compounds on a piece of filter paper on the end of our temp probe. Then we're going to pull it out and it'll evaporate off. And we're going to look at the temperature difference between each of these and then compare them to say, oh, well, this one evaporated quickly, whereas this one didn't. So why did it do that? Well, I bet it has something to do with intermolecular forces. Okay, so we're going to use both temperature probes that are in your drawer. Theoretically, they're in your drawer. If you cannot find both of yours, please make sure, first off, that you are using your drawer number temp probes. You need both of them. If you cannot find them, you need to ask your lab instructor or your TA to help you go through all the drawers, all the veneer drawers, and look for them because you need both of them this week. You're going to hook those into channel 1 and channel 2 of your LabQuest. And then it tells you that you just need, all you have to do is change the duration on the mode screen to 240 seconds. That's all you have to do as far as your LabQuest goes. So on the rolling cart, you will see several groups of test tubes. There's 6 different groups. Those are your 6 chemicals that you'll need. So take your test tube holder, go to the rolling cart, and get 1 test tube of each of the liquids. Ethanol is labeled ETOH, and then methanol is drawn out and it's CH4OH. So just so you know what those are. We're going to try to use these for as many labs as possible so we don't have to waste. So do not contaminate these, and I'm going to tell you how not to do that in a minute. Also, when you are finished using the test tube, put the cork back on it. These are all pretty volatile liquids and they will evaporate relatively easily into the atmosphere. So once you have that, you're going to wrap your temperature probes with a piece of filter paper, and then you're going to secure that filter paper on the temp probe with a rubber band. We don't have any small rubber bands, so you're going to have to use a regular size rubber band, and you're going to have to wrap it a good many times for it to securely fit your temp probe. Okay. It also says that your filter paper needs to be even with the end of your temp probe. Mine was not, and now I've just messed it up. Anyway, then it tells you to stand probe 1 in the ethanol, probe 2 in the methanol. Make sure that they don't tip over. So I would just do that in your test tube holder. While you're doing that, prepare 2 pieces of tape to be used to tape the probes in position during step 7. So after the probes have been in the liquid for at least 30 seconds, then you will start your data collection. So your 240 seconds will begin on your LabQuest monitor. A live graph of temperature versus time on both probe 1 and 2 is being plotted. Live readings are displayed to the right of the graph. Monitor the temperature for 15 seconds to establish the initial temperature of each liquid. Then simultaneously remove both of your temp probes out of the test tube and tape them to the edge of your lab bench. And it shows you that in figure 4.1 right here. It's taped to the lab bench. Okay, then your data collection will stop after 4 minutes. Once it stops, you're going to look at your graph, and you're going to determine the max temperature and the minimum temperature. Your max temperature will be T1 on your data sheet. Your minimum temperature will be T2 on your data sheet, and you need to do this for both probes. For each liquid, subtract the minimum temperature from the max temperature to determine your delta T, so your change in time. Based on those values, plus the information in your pre-lab, so if you need to go pick up your pre-lab, they should be graded already. You can go do that. Predict the size of the delta T for one butanol and one propanol. Remember, the difference between one butanol and one propanol is just an extra carbon. Compare its hydrogen bonding capability and the molecular weight to those of ethanol and methanol. Record what you would predict the delta T to be for them. Explain how you arrived at the answer in the space provided. It is not important that you predict the exact delta T, simply just a logical estimate, okay? Then step 11, you're actually going to test your predictions that you made in step 10 by repeating step 4 through 9 using one butanol and one propanol. Okay, so once you've finished with your methanol and your ethanol, you're going to take your rubber band off. You're going to throw away the filter paper and the rubber band. Then you're just going to rinse both temperature probes with distilled water. Pat dry with a paper towel, make sure they're completely dry. Put you a new piece of filter paper, new rubber band, then stick it in your propanol and butanol. Do that same process anytime you're switching to a new test tube, okay? So we don't contaminate anything. I'll tell you that in a minute. Okay, so you're going to do steps 4 through 9 again, but this time you're using butanol and propanol. Once you've done that, you'll move to step 12, and it says based on your change in temperature that you attained for all 4 substances, plus the information in your pre-lab, predict the change in temperature for hexane and pentane. So those do not have hydrogen bonding, just dispersion forces. Record your predicted values in your data table and give a reasoning as to why you arrived at that. Then you will test your predictions in step 12 by repeating step 4 through 9 again, but this time you're going to use hexane and pentane. Remember, you're going to dispose of your filter paper and your rubber band and get a new one. But before you put your new one on there, make sure you rinse both temp probes with distilled water. So in my lab this afternoon, several groups had a problem when they stuck it in the pentane. Their rubber band broke into all different pieces. If that happens, just let us know. We'll need to dump that pentane, clean that test tube really well, and put you new pentane in there, okay? So if that happens, just let your TA or your lab instructor know. But just know that is a possibility, okay? So you will have to start over if that does happen. This doesn't take long at all. I think all of my students were done in an hour and a half or this afternoon. I know it's been nice having these short labs, but I think next week it's going to be the full time, so don't get used to getting out of lab early. Sorry. Okay. Then once you're finished, you're going to answer the processing the data part. It also asks you to plot a graph. It tells you what to plot on which axis You can do that in the computer lab on the 4th floor and print that graph and turn it in with your data sheet. I think that's all I got for you today. Make sure you put your temp probes back where they belong so that we're not searching for both temp probes in every single lab. Okay? See y'all soon. Bye.